I think that so often mental health is, in a way, put in a different arena than physical health and other like markers of well-being. And I think that mental health is as important, if not more important, than a lot of other things that we talk about so often that don't have this major stigma around it. So
Part of what I was going to say is exactly basically what he said, that mental health is treated as a completely separate issue, as in it's like a kind of not shunned upon, but in a lot of the stigma is so huge and a lot of people have a completely altered perspective of it. But in reality, it's a lot of issues are just as common as physical health issues. It's just as important and it's just as prevalent. And then it's also just such a misrepresented issue in the media and word of mouth and everything. People just misunderstand it and they don't give it the respect and the treatment it deserves.
Obviously, a lot of things in the media are made to be something that they're not, and when it's talking about the topic of mental health, that's very dangerous to be, because it's a misrepresentation. But we can't have the media without drama, and we can't have the media without really entertainment when it should be informant of something like that. Because a lot of people don't realize the difference between entertainment and reality and how things can be misconstrued, and people's view of things like mental health and mental illness could definitely be strayed away from what it should be based on the things that they consume and the media that they consume, whether it's the news, whether it's entertainment like a movie or a TV show.
I feel like, especially in teen dramas or like the shows and movies aimed at younger people, mental illness is either really glorified, as in the main character is mentally ill and he or she or they are really cool, and like it's makes them edgy, and I don't know, and people just don't really treat it as an illness. When they watch the movie, they think it's like, oh, she's just so cool. But then there's also, in a lot of shows, there's one side character who's just mentally ill, and that's all they are. You know, it's like the person is defined by their illness. And so while it shows that you have to pay attention to mental illness, it also makes it seem like there's nothing more to a person than just being bipolar or having really severe OCD or something.
I think one thing that we haven't touched on, we touched a lot about like the media and like entertainment products. On the flip side, like social media, to be honest, like growing up as, you know, whether you're a toddler now or you're like my age, where you're at kind of the front end of the people who grew up with smartphones and personal devices, being a kid with social media is difficult. Like there are so many different forms of toxicity that are spread on all the different platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok's a major one now, Twitter. Like obviously there are a lot of forms of use of those platforms that are good and like make them necessary in modern life, but personal interactions with those platforms and the amount of time that you spend on them, the like information that you're exposed to, whether it's like a friend who's posting a picture that's like that, like it's one of the 10 pictures that they post every year. Like it's meant to be a misrepresentation of reality. It doesn't really show the day to day.
Yeah, we're very vulnerable when it comes to media and social media, because we could follow someone who represents mental illness and struggles like that, wrong or right, and they have the platform to do that, and they're reaching out to so many different people. And teenagers can use social media as a coping mechanism, and they can learn and educate themselves a lot, or they can be harmed. They can harm themselves with the media they consume, or they can be harmed by other people that are using the internet. And we shouldn't demonize social media either, because it's not a ton of people just trying to make others feel bad. But you will get into situations on social media that are harmful, and the way that teenagers deal with them and learn from them and move on from them is really important.